What is going on, Z Warriors? MrWaffles here. We're here with another live deck profile for you guys. Standing in front of me is another Brown brother, Nick Brown. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. And it's crazy because he reached out to me because he had an awesome deck that he wanted to showcase, and I'm here to definitely showcase to you guys. So it's cool for big names to really kind of come out and start contributing and showing other players like stuff that they've been working on. So what deck you have for us today, man?
Today we got another Tag Gohan deck. I know you just did a deck profile of your own on it, but mine's a totally different version. I own all 7 DragonBalls. It's totally different.
So all 7 DragonBalls. So this is completely different from obviously what I'm playing because mine's just like beatdown, just like TN, Puar, Yamcha stuff, and his is using the Dragon Ball victory. So yeah, I have a couple of questions to ask you. So first off, why tag in a ball deck when Frisco had the crazy restored Gohan that placed really high at Worlds?
Yeah, so it actually started. Frisco kind of inspired me to make the deck. I saw him get top 4 with his Gohan deck. I thought it was like the coolest deck ever. It was really awesome. And while I was at Worlds, not playing any of this because I already lost and not making top cut that thing, but while I was playing, I was in the bathroom. I took a piss break, and it hit me. I was like, we could just make that deck tag. And it does all the same things as restored. I run Blue Trick to make up the libraries that Blue has. You run all the ally bouncing powers that Blue has to bounce Kami in and out of play whenever you want. And your allies can't get banished. Because I was thinking, well, if Frisco's allies gets banished, that's just going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And now I'm tagged. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, it's crazy because, Blue and Namek both have that parallel of balls and allies, which is really weird. For some reason, Namek has a bunch
Blue
of
has more ally support, and Namek obviously has more ball support, so it's kind of like a trade-off there.
Yeah, and now the fact that, but with tag, like you said, the added bonus of if your allies get banished, which if we do see a huge impact of Gohan, which I could see happening, players playing tug of war. Like you said, the Namek version is just can really
and even it doesn't even have to be a dedicated ally hate like that. I was watching one of the games Frisco lost in his top cut match, and he could have won this game, but it was a lot harder than it needed to be because he was playing against Ruthless Goku, and the guy opened up turn 1 with Red Energy Beam or Energy Blast or whatever, and banished his Ox King, and no Ox King versus Goku. That match just gets a lot harder.
Yeah, a lot harder, and not to mention when tag you get to 2 allies right off the bat, it just really kind of speeds up ahead just to get to that 2, so that way you can start doing your toolbox.
A lot of times I'll go to 2 on the first combat. When entering the first combat, I'll just go to 2. Frisco's got to wait usually, I imagine.
And that can really make or break sometimes the game, just because certain decks, like you said, you have I can tell you countless times where I would have the one ally out because my opponent would go first, and they would enter and they would use Saint Spin Kick or Broly's Eraser Cannon right off the bat, just getting rid of that one ally. So if I wasn't playing tag, I felt I don't know what I would do, just because I'm already down an ally, and then I have to wait a couple of combats to enter and recoup and get the allies back or whatever. So
one small thing. It's not the reason I made this deck by any stretch, but playing a few games is something I've learned. When you play Baba, all your allies can endurance 1. You never want to banish your allies and enter their style because once they're gone, they're gone. But in tag, you can just banish them to prevent the crit that would cap your ball or would crit another ally. So your deck just gains 8 endurance that way.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's another good point. Just the Baba actually flows well with tag Gohan.
It's not really the perfect knowledge is great when you're tutoring stuff left and right, but that endurance buff is actually really cool.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just even get Baba out just for the endurance factor, so I don't have to worry about crits. So we'll get right onto the deck profile. So see what you're cooking up here.
Right. So I'm just gonna put my card up to the camera, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Sure. Perfect. So we have the Blue Tack Team Mastery, obviously. It's the only foil I own.
Yeah.
So for the Gohan stack, we run Gohan to the Rescue, Vengeance level 1. New level 2, 3, and 4. I only have 2 with me, but you got the idea. 2, 3, and 4. So the reason we run new 2 instead of old 2 is because the whole point of this deck is filtering your draws. Because you're running a lot of setups, you'll see in a minute, and you're running a lot of allies, and you're running a lot of balls, so you're going to draw dead a lot, or at least suboptimal. and you don't want to fix that. And with Baba, you get perfect knowledge and everything. And the +2 mod is nice, like the other Gohan gives you, but it's not really where you're going. Like this deck in survival, I'd say survival about half of my games, but it's not where your goal is.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, if you go against other Gohan mirrors and you're playing the old two and they get Ox King on you, like, that just shuts off your power pretty much completely, so you're just there with a crit rejuve effect.
Or like the Goku mod, like, if I was running my Gohan to the older one, and I ran my Ox King, that'd be counterintuitive, so that I'm not running Ox King for my own benefit, but then, like, Vegeta and Goku start running me over, too.
Yeah, so it's like, no point.
There's a whole can of worms where you don't do this.
Yeah.
So moving on, I got 7 balls.
Whole sweet.
Could be Earth balls, I guess, but the Namek ones just flow better, honestly. Like, Earth, there's no protection of Namek 1 in an Earth ball deck, and that's pretty huge, because, like, you don't want them critting either Earth 4 or Namek 4 against you, because you don't want them blowing up your setups, and you don't want them blowing up your allies. Ball 3, if they crit ball 3 and you can't get ball 3 back immediately, that's a whole shitstorm. And ball 7, if they can crit your ball 7, that's terrible. So you definitely want Namek 1 is my point.
Yeah.
Just
well, not to also mention with the Namek ball suite too, it just offers like really like swing in certain like games, you know, just to like drop a ball 4 if you have like your opponent has like VTP or something like that.
If you can radar for something, it's huge.
Yeah.
Or even like ball 3 is awesome out of combat because this deck runs so many planning step cards. It's kind of like Blue or Red Roshi. Like you can just set up a board like 4 cards out of nowhere just by drawing ball 3.
Yeah. And just like, it's really good potential in that regard. So, yeah, I agree with the Earth Ball suite too, I think. Sorry, Namekian. And
also, like, if I ran, like, Namekian or Earth Balls, and, like, if you got my 1, you just shuffle it away. If you got my 5, you just shuffle it away. Like, you don't want to, like, do all that if you're trying to ball out yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's different if you can control your balls better, like Slug or something, but it's not like it is in this.
Yeah, situation, for sure. Sweet.
Yeah. So I got 7 balls. So I was out over here. So, and I'll go over my allies. We got Piccolo. It's a Gohan deck.
Yeah.
You gotta run Piccolo.
Staple.
I mean, it's an ally deck.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got Icarus. Pretty much the same thing. And I know I'm tagged, so if my allies get banished or whatever, it's not that big a deal. You still don't want them to, you know? Not having asking for a turn. Well, it's only 1 turn. You still want him there, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that. So Icarus is good. Rejuve 1 is also pretty cool. I'll actually get into some cool tricks I can do with that later.
Cool.
ChiChi. Same as Rick Piccolo. Just as good. Kami. Kami is broken in this deck. He's just straight up broken.
Yeah.
You can bounce him like 18 times and just get all your balls out just by bouncing Kami around. If no one wants to crit Kami because that's a ball for you, so he just sits there and puts cards back into your deck, and he's broken.
Yeah. Not to mention like the passive like rejuvenation kind of thing.
He just sits there and like if we sit there in a pass war, I'm gonna win. I got a Kami.
Yeah, you know it's crazy.
Yeah. So I got Ox King. This already goes without saying. Like in a meta game of like Goku's, Vegetas, and mods out that butt, you like screw all that. I'm just gonna sit here and not care. He's also really great in a ball deck because a lot of attacks are like 4 life cards that get like a buff to become crit threat range.
Yeah.
They're just not crit range anymore.
Yeah.
Like things like AK just can't crit me.
It's amazing. You know, like my Vegeta matchup is so much easier with Ox King and Piccolo.
Honestly,
it's just
Vegeta is a little different, although I've never really had problems with that either. But Vegeta is almost 100% one for this deck just because he can't crit.
Yeah.
I just like if you get you start with Piccolo. I'll get into the matches later.
Yeah.
Basically, you start with Piccolo, and then you start with Ox King. So you start with 2 allies essentially, and Piccolo always blocks a Gallic gun, so that's gone. And then anything else can't crit.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, Ox King. And also like when you're low on life deck, or even just like if you're trying to pull ahead because you can't ball out for whatever reason, something got banished, something weird happened, you can just bounce Ox King instead of bounce Kami, and then you can rejuve so many cards.
Yeah.
So that's just awesome. Baba, already kind of got into it. The endurance thing. Perfect knowledge is just stupid with Gohan tutors. Like if I'm looking at your hand and you're looking at my hand, and I see you got 2 physical blocks and no energy blocks, I'll go pitch my blue slash for like a blue neck beam or something and lay into you that way.
Yeah. Just make their hand dead. Yeah.
Just make their hand dead, make yours better. Like just switch things around. There's also a lot of cool tricks because like when you bounce Kami and stuff, rocks into your hand, you can then pitch that ally, so you don't have to actually waste a card from your hand to pitch.
Yeah.
Tons of cool stuff.
It's nice.
Bulma, you don't need her. She's not integral to your strategy. She's just really good.
Yeah.
Like she does lots of tricky stuff. Like when you can see that they have a block in their hand, you can Overpowering Attack for Bulma, grab that same copy of their block or discard, Bulma right through it. You can do janky ass shit like they're holding time, Bulma, grab your own time, nix their time.
Yeah.
You can just do silly stuff with her.
Yeah. She's just she ends games sometimes. She really does.
Yeah. She's not like a staple.
Yeah.
But she's good at it. Dragon Radar. It's a ball deck. I don't need to say it.
Yeah.
Blue Trick. Yeah, 3 blue tricks. It's a ball deck. You gotta be able to control your balls. There's a lot of blue cards between this set and the past couple sets that allow you to control setups really well and bounce them back in and out of play. I'll get into that later too. But I've reused Trick like 6 times during the game.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Trick is, and like, I play games against Slug, other decks that are using the Earth Balls, so total we have 14 balls that don't conflict with each other on table, and I finished games with 10 balls on my side of the board because of Trick, just recycling Trick.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I mean, a lot of times I'll have like 5 balls on the table and 1 trick showing, and people will just create an ally instead of creating a ball because I have a trick showing, and it's like, you're like, there's no point to creating a ball. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to crit my ball now, but you might as well do it so they can use my trick later.
Yeah.
And I just end up balling out that way.
Because then the trick later game is just going to be a deal sealer because no matter what, it's just like...
Because you can't get rid of them. Like, you got to like try to get rid of them.
Yeah.
You know? So, this card is just a staple in this deck.
Yeah.
3.
And also a side note...
Helps. I'll use that in a pinch if I'm trying to avoid being crit, like if I have like no protection for like ball 3 or something.
Yeah.
And need to not let ball 3 be crit or something, and then I'll use the endurance. But in general, I try not to use endurance on my tricks.
Yeah, so you can get it later. And just a side tangent about you using Namek Dragon Balls, which I also thought was really cool, is if you're playing against a deck that uses Earth Dragon Balls, you can capture their Earth Dragon Balls, and if you have your Namek Ball 1, they can't
capture that back until they capture my wall.
Yeah, so it's...
game plan so hard.
Yeah.
Like Slug or like any other Earth Ball deck is like 100% win rate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. 2 VTPs. This is going to sound insane, but I'm actually thinking about cutting these. The reason is, like, I always have such a low discard pile to begin with because I just reduce so much between Kami and Nox King. They barely ever get any value. I haven't gotten around to cutting yet because, like, every time I want to cut them, they'll have a game where, like, they grab me a time or something or a spear, and it comes in super clutch.
Yeah.
But they're not the staple they once were.
Yeah.
They're still good.
Yeah.
It's great, but, like, it's not broken in this deck.
Yeah. It's not like, because you, like you said, you reduce so much, so.
Yeah, just because I reduce so much. But, you know, it's solid, so they're still here. Easy goods. Okay, what else we got? Blue Save. Do you even know what this card does?
I bet no one does. Yeah.
Right. It's actually supposed to be 3, but this deck, I didn't update it in time, so it's going to be blue saves. There's 3 blue saves. So I'm going to read it to you. It's Endurance 2. Same thing like Trick, though. I'm not going to use Endurance on unless I should, unless I have to. I'm going to read to you. Power, return an ally you control to its owner's hand to search your life deck for a styled setup and place it into play.
Yeah.
So that doesn't sound good, I guess. It's broken.
Yeah.
So power, bounce Kami to your hand, place a ball into play because Kami left play. Search your life deck for a styled setup and play. Okay. Search your deck for a trick to capture a ball. Search your life deck for another one of these so you can do it again next turn when you replay your Kami. Search your deck for a blockade, a Ki Buildup, battle readiness.
Yeah.
I run a lot of one-of setups, which you'll see in a minute, just because I can tutor them so well with this card.
Yeah. And the endurance, yeah.
There's actually a broken combo that just chains off, and you can put like 4 balls in play at once, which I'll show you when I get into the strategy of this deck and stuff. But this card's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 blue saves on that card. Okay, what else we got? Oh, my one-of setups. 1 blockade. Like I said, it's an omni block that just sits there, and I can tutor with blue save. So if I'm looking at their hand with Baba or something, or I just like I feel like I'm getting my ass kicked, blue save, bounce Kami, grab a ball, grab ball 1 maybe to protect my other balls, grab a blockade, lessen the damage a bit. There's also another way I can tutor it with a blue brace, but I'll get into that later. But this is very tutorable. All my setups are very tutorable.
Nice.
Blue Ki Buildup, same thing. This can go, because it's not like, it doesn't keep you alive, but you do have to be able to survive. I survive about half of my games. If you can get a nasty Ki Buildup cycle, like I played this same, it's a 1-up Ki Buildup. I played the same 1-up Ki Buildup 3 times in one combat. Like, you can get some nasty cycling going with Blue Save, Blue Grace, and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good as a 1-up, I think.
Yeah, and also again, it's like that threshold for crit range where like blue doesn't really have any cards that really just use a critical damage effect besides
like
blue.
All 1, it hits for 8.
Yeah, for blue fair. So yeah, that big life.
Battle Readiness.
Good
Sometimes
card.
I actually want to make this a 2 just because I want so many allies, but it's really just a 1 because I think you only need 1 and like it's tutorable like everything else. It's not banish after use, so just keep using it with tutoring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all my planning steps. Let's count that. 7, 14, 18, 20, 26.
Yeah.
26. Jesus. Alright, so now I'll get into my events. 2 Confros. Sorry about that, guys. Getting older routine.
Yeah.
Just wanted to read it. 2 Confros. This actually wants to go to a 3, I think, because it's really nice to look at your opponent's hand with Baba, have a Confro and take their block away so you can go get a slash or something that you know is going to hit now.
Yeah. That's good. A lot of hit effect.
Get rid of their energy block so you can go find an Optic Blast so it'll hit or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really nice for that. It can stay at 2 and go to 3. That's kind of like play some games and make a decision yourself. The Confro is good in this deck. Spheres. 2 spheres, pretty standard. I know you mentioned this in your last video, Waffles, but Terror for sphere, so they can just go right through time. That's pretty much why this is there.
Yeah.
It has like added bonuses like stopping Unleashed and broken stuff like that.
Yeah, which is huge.
Really just the fact that I can go Terror for sphere is why it's there.
Yeah, it's searchable. Like, so if anything that you can at least tutor for, you at least play 1 copy of it.
Exactly. Like, so many 1-ups I could justify.
Yeah. Which is good because it frees up a lot of your deck spaces, where other decks, they have to maybe run 3 blockade because they might not seed enough, but for you, it's not even an issue.
It's like whenever I want, I can have blockade.
Yeah.
Time. It's time.
Yeah. Not to mention with all your rejuvenation abilities, like, you can just keep Octane Rejuvenate or Icarus or whatever.
Yeah. So time's good. Gotta run time. So now we're going to get into blocks. Blue Brace. This card's broken. This card makes you wish people attack you more. Because, like, a lot of times I'll tutor for a Blue Brace with my Gohan power, and then they won't attack me, and it sucks because I want to get a setup in my discard pile. It's horrible shit to them. So, in a way, a lot of times it actually acts like Time is a Warrior's tool, just for energy attacks.
Yeah.
Because they just won't attack into it. Like, they'll know it's there, they just won't. And, like, when they don't know it's there, then, like, it's just broken. Like, you can do this, then you can open up a Ki Buildup loop like I'm talking about. You can do Battle Readiness for, like, Ox King and Bulma and just shut down their hand and rejuve and stuff. You can trick to get a ball back live and see coming. People also just don't realize what you can do with this card. It's amazing.
It's amazing. And I know Sane actually has a version of it.
You can Blue Brace for a Blue Save from this card. So Blue Brace, grab Blue Save, use Blue Save to switch your deck for setups. This can turn into any setup you want from any zone.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, cards. The only thing I don't like about it is no endurance in this card, but who the fuck cares?
Yeah. I mean, the benefit of it is crazy. It's funny because I was saying that Sane has a card similar to that too. That gets a setup.
I like that card.
Sane Club, So I'm waiting for someone to make some kind of setup deck too, like to get back in Enrage.
I had a dynamic Goku deck that was actually like a Menace Loop deck.
Yeah.
Because it got to 4 and just abused things like Prep Ball into Sand Drive By into Menace and just took endless action turns.
Yeah.
And I had it in that deck, but that deck just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
They were just killing it.
Yeah.
So 1 blue fight. This doesn't really need to be there, but I wanted an energy block that isn't Blue Brace, because sometimes you don't have a setup in your discard pile, but you want an energy block. So you want to be able to discover or something. Like, this will let me tutor an ally. It's another Kami bounce tool, so I can banish my Kami, grab a ball, and then do something else with it. It's not great. It's not bad. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's there when I don't want to go get a Blue Brace that has no effect.
Yeah. It's your backup.
Blue Deterrence. It's a 3 of. I would run Crouch in this slot if I had any way to draw Crouch, so I could recycle Crouch after. at TN. It's actually the stages. That's great, I guess. Since I can't draw crouch, just run this card. I had problems with anger. Not most anger decks, but something like Rampage and Gohan anger.
Yeah.
Essential Trunks, I imagine I played it, but I imagine Essential Trunks would be trouble.
Yeah.
So, lower anger 2 is good, endurance 2 is good. It's a good block.
Yeah. And endurance, so, yeah.
Yeah. Alright. So, I think those are my blocks up, so I'll go to my attacks. So we got Blue Tear. It's Blue Tear.
Yeah.
Being able to tutor Blue Tear for a non-style card is just silly.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, I can create crazy lines where I Blue Tear or I go on for Blue Tear for like an Optic Blast, and then I just cap 2 balls and crits. It's just silly.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Like Terra's just hopefully it doesn't get frozen, but I probably might have jinxed it.
I go back and forth on that.
Yeah.
Because I hate when people Blue Tear against me, but it's just such a cool card.
Yeah.
So I know. 3-head Nux. Like I said, I have problems with anger. This helps with anger. Endurance 2. Life card damage. Soft attack.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah, staple.
Staple, I think. Okay. What do I got here? 3 Blue Slash. Blue Slash is amazing because it's so freaking hard when they're low anger.
Yeah.
It's for like 1 to 2 life cards depending on ball 1, and then mill 6. That's just like 7 to 8 life off the bat, and like if it's gonna hit, so you're never wasting it because Baba.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times you can force it through. Like even if I'm staring at a hand and I don't have a confrontation, we'll say, and I'm staring at a hand where they have like a physical block and energy block, and I have like a physical attack and energy attack. They might think they're safe, but I'll Blue Slash, they'll block it. Then I'll drop my energy tag for a Blue Slash, and I'll just slash them anyway for 8.
Yeah.
There's just nothing they can do about that. You need like more than just one of every block.
That's the thing, because then if they like had the other physical block, you just get the energy attack. Like
exactly.
you can
like 2 and 2. I don't know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
There's no way around it.
Yeah, no, it's a catch-22 for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you have perfect vision with Bob, so it's just like what to get when.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Bob was just so good, so good.
Yeah. So Blue Slash, that's a card. Blue Discharge. Got 3 of these. I know I actually don't see like any decks running 3 of these just because the hit effect is absolutely detrimental a lot of times. Maybe you don't have an ally or that you can't play the card. If you don't have an ally you want to get rid of, you hit with it and you have to. The spam checker use that sucks. That sucks for me too. I don't know. But this card is just so good because it controls anger. Like I said, I have problems with anger. I've actually leveled off it via anger by just playing it that many times. Like a ball 3 or a ball 5 to raise my anger 1, and then 2 of these is a level.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I'll even see level 3.
Yeah.
Which lets me actually go back down to low and grab another ally.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I've used it to level the other guy. One time I was playing against Orange Vegeta, and he had a board full of drills. And like, I know you don't want to level Vegeta, that sounds terrible, but he was on level 1. So he had like every drill you could imagine on board. Like, I don't know, he just drew them all. So I just leveled him with this is my first action, and then he had no block for it because his blocking drill was gone.
Yeah.
So then I just hit him with it.
Yeah.
And then I just laid into him. I'm like, yeah, he got a little more anger than I would have liked because he could master it and whatever, but like, I did so much damage.
Yeah, because he cleared the board, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it says, also another Kami tool, Kami bounce too.
Absolutely. Like you can do janky stuff like bounce Kami and then grab an ally from the discard pile. Let's see, you grab Ox King and like, yeah.
Rejuvenate, yeah.
I wouldn't cut this to do it all.
Yeah.
And also it hits really hard, like 7 life is
yeah, I have 2 in my deck too. I was really thinking about bumping it to 3, but
And you never meet the ally criteria. Like I don't think I've ever had 0 allies in play.
Yeah.
Like you always have the eyes in play and go on.
Yeah.
2 blue arrests. This card is solid. It's nice because it's an ally tutor that you can tutor for. So like let's say they don't have a physical block, or even if they do, and you're showing a slash because you have Bob and they can see your fucking slash.
Yeah.
They'll play this, or you have to make them choose. Like you tutor for this anyway. It's like, do you want to block my slash, or do you want me to grab the ally? and they'll probably take slash because no one else takes 7 life. And then you can actually do like dirty shit if you like get the right ally.
Yeah.
Or choose a bunch of allies. That doesn't really come into play that much because I'm not running the waiting drill combo because I level too much. It's more dead cards in stack. But it's good. It's endurance 3. Also spreads.
Yeah. Solid endurance. Yeah.
Okay. I got space here. Alright. 2 neck beams. This could go to 3. It was at 3, I'm sure, at one point when I made this deck, and I cut down to 2. It doesn't hit nearly as much as I want. I don't really give a shit about the 4 stages that I get when I pitch it to Gohan power because I just have so many stages between my allies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Broly decks are just not a problem for me, I found.
Yeah.
Unless they take me up to when they're on 3, that's game ending.
Yeah.
Still that.
Well, even if they dig you up, like, you go to 2. Oh, well, if you're going 2 and you're you can go back down to 1.
On 3, they dig you up, then you still... I guess if you're on 2, you go to your D level, so it doesn't actually trigger.
Yeah, and you could just stay at 1 and just don't care.
But anyway, this card, being able to tutor for it, like you see, they don't have energy block, just go grab it then. You don't need it all the time to D level them, you just need it when you need it. So it's 2. That's where you see the power of Gohan, you know, like cards that are staple 3-ups in a lot of decks, he gets wrong with 2 of them.
Yeah.
Let me make some space here. Okay. There we go.
I mean, it's just insane how, like you said, like everything's like tutorable with your setups. Because now, like, because Gohan can't search setups, he only search like style attack and drills and blocks, but you also have Cars to search setups, so kind of really like, you know, glues everything together. You know, that missing component, like
so,
you know,
so synergistic.
Yeah.
So we got 2 betrayals. Same thing as every other card I'm running. It's just it's tutorable when I need a betrayal. You have to hit a betrayal. This was at 1 for a while. Problem is, like, sometimes it would hit the discard pile early just from like random damage, and then I wouldn't be able to just go grab it whenever I needed it. Like, that would suck.
Yeah.
So let's go 2. I like it 2.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't need to be a 3 because how tutorable it is.
Yeah.
But I think it needs to be more than 1 because sometimes you just don't
you need to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like sometimes you want to just draw naturally, which lets you tutor or something else.
Yeah, which is good too. Yeah.
So now we get into my cue cards. One of Blue Takedown.
Okay.
This I gotta give a shout out to John Blake because he gave me this idea. He was looking at the deck. This card's amazing. I mean, I know it makes no sense. Like, you can't control anger. The most anger control I have as far as like that goes, like I can raise your anger 2 or lower 2 with discharge, or I can lower it 1 with slash, lower it 2 with deterrence. But like, I can't control like here you're at 1 anger after you level. I can't do that. This card fixes the dynamic mastery for me. Like, if they are at 0 anger, which they are after I had knock or deterrence or basically anything you do, they can't attack you.
Yeah.
If they attack you, if they know you're holding this, if they do attack you and you're holding this, then just lower them. Because all their attacks say gain 1 anger.
Yeah.
So they have to go to 1 anger and then boom.
Yeah, it's taken down.
Yeah.
Have fun going, climbing back up 6 anger. Yeah.
Well, like, a lot of times, no one expects the random takedown. Right?
Yeah.
Who cares? It's a random takedown. It's not protected. Like, no one expects this crap. Like, they'll just end up on 1 anger at some point, living their life, Like, how many times have you been level with +1 anger? Like,
yeah.
That just happens. Like, and then you're randomly holding a takedown, de-level them. No one sees it coming. It's great. They might feel a little weird, but, like, when you draw it randomly, you just hold on to it because you know it's going to, like, get so much value out of this.
Yeah.
And, like, against Gohan decks, they'll do stuff like Rampage, what I'm talking about. They'll do stuff like Phase Strike for level. You're not going to block it because that's stupid.
Yes.
And they hits, and then they have 1 anger. Boom, takedown.
Yeah.
It's like, it has a lot of weird applications. But it's actually really good.
Yeah, I got to try that for sure. Right there.
So random 1 of takedown. I've thought about going to 2. Oh, one more thing about takedown because it's cool.
Yeah.
After you de-level them, it also stage locks them.
Yeah, yeah.
There's 4 stages, there's 5 above. Like,
yeah, like, get wrecked.
Yeah. Alright, so that's cool.
And it's good because it's like your other alternative neck beam in a sense, where instead of running the third neck beam, you have that.
Inspired that idea was actually, besides John, I wanted to run Blue Ki. Because I was like, well, if they have a block for neck beam and I want to level them, I might as well run Blue Ki. Then I remembered on all deck, and if I finish the top 2, it doesn't work, so take that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. One of Blue Clash. This would be a 3-of if I got to use Ball 1 and Ox King. Like if I got to be crit range, but Ox King prevents that. It's really nice to get an ally out of your banish zone super randomly. You'll like be holding it, and they banish an ally, and then you're just like 8 to the face.
Yeah.
It's another tutor. It's a tutor that you can tutor for, kind of like Blue Rest, but the opposite, so it's an energy tutor.
Mm-hmm. And it's unpreventable damage, which is helpful, yeah. So,
like, if I see they're holding a physical block and I want an ally, I don't grab a Rest, I go grab the Clash, and then I'll get that ally. You know? Yeah. Well, damage is cool. If I don't have Ox King, and I do have Ball 1, it's a...
Yeah.
It could go to 2, it could go to 3.
Yeah.
Preference. Space is hard.
Yeah.
Right now it's a 1. I don't hate it. I don't love it. At 1, but it's solid.
Yeah, and something that people out there who are watching this should also remember is, like, you know, for me, I play 3, but I don't have the rejuve capabilities like he does, where he can, like, discard or Clash or something like that and then rejuve it back with Kami or Ox King or something like that because he's bouncing his allies so much. For me, I want my allies to pretty much stay on the field, so I would normally use the Clash as a recovery card if my opponent banishes with either a Tug of War or some other card effect or whatever the case may be, or for me to search. So for me, I want my allies to stay. For him, like, he doesn't mind if his allies for the most part goes because he's doing so much stuff like that. So, you know, I can see why the 1 Clash, because you rejuve so much. So
yeah. Alright, so then we got 2 Overpowering Attacks. This really wants to go to a 3. I haven't updated the deck recently enough to do that. I know the reason it was at 2 is because it's not styled, so I can't just go get it whenever I want. But because it's not styled, that's why I think it needs to be a 3, because it's a card I always want to see.
Yeah.
And I can't go get it, so like I just need to have draw it naturally. So I think you need to up this card to a 3.
Yeah. And not to mention, it's basically another ball potentially, depending on what your hand is. If you have Kami, like, you can like OP for Kami, and whatever your hand is, you can just bounce Kami.
When I go into the tactics about this deck, I'm like, I don't know, a minute, because we're almost done with the deck profile. I'll explain why I think this needs to go 3 specifically, because there's a cool thing I can do to save.
Yeah.
Of that card.
Very sweet.
So, last but not least, we got 2 Optic Blasts.
It's a ball deck.
It's a ball deck. You can build capture balls. Sometimes this is a double capture, that's broken. It's endurance 2. If you know they don't have a block, and you haven't already done it, you can tear for Optic, and then that's a crit, possibly 2 crits, and that's cool. Yeah.
That's really good, yeah. Can't go wrong. Especially, like, the fact that he said, you know, the multiple uses. If you're playing against Earth Dragon Balls, like you said, it makes the matchup so much easier because then you get an extra draw off it.
Yeah, like, the mill 3 is nice, but if I'm just trying to ball out, I don't care if I'm going to 3. But against Earth, I get to draw a card, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
That could be a whole new world of possibilities.
Yeah.
So, Kami, Blue Save, or Content. This is all you need to do, Kami. So you Blue Save, whatever. Grab ball 1, turn Kami your hand, grab another Blue Save. You use your Gohan 2 power, ditch your Kami, go grab, I don't know what I want to grab here. Let's say, let's say you grab Blue Rest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say you grab Blue Discharge, it's better. Blue Discharge. So then you discharge, and it hits, because you can see that with Bulma. Grabs Kami to play. So then you save again. Kami goes to your hand. Grab a second ball. So, just like that, I did, like, real damage, and I have 2 balls in play. So that's a cool thing you can do.
Yeah.
One thing I did that was pretty legit. I had a Ki Buildup and the Battle Readiness in play. Blue Save. That's all I need for this. But I guess it's an Overpowering Attack. So, you Blue Save. Oxygen goes to your hand. Sorry. Get this wrong. First you Ki Buildup. Do the Ki Buildup. Then you Blue Save. Oxygen goes to your hand. You ditch Oxygen for whatever reason. You ditch Oxygen. You're going power. You overpower and rebound Readiness. That's why you don't actually overpowering. Bring Oxygen back. Rejuvenate Ki Buildup. This is out of order. But with your Blue Save, you got another Blue Save. And then you Blue Save again to get the Ki Buildup. Then you just rejuvenate off the Oxygen.
Yeah. That's pretty sick too.
You get 2 Ki Buildups off of your 1 Blue Save that year. 2 Blue Saves. The same Ki Buildup twice, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can do cool stuff like that. You can get your balls out really fast out of nowhere. You can spam Ki Buildup, spam Blockade, spam Trip, whatever you need.
Yeah. Pretty much anything. It's really unique.
I'm trying to think of what cool things I've done in my past games. It's hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in the moment.
Yeah.
Like I said, with Takedown, against certain matchups, Rampage and Gohan, Ascension Mastery, though a lot of times level, like Vegeta, Ascension Vegeta level, and combat, keep winning Grappa's Mastery, you enter, you level him as your first action.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool too, yeah. I can see Takedown has a lot of value now, for sure. Yeah, it's really interesting for sure. It's crazy because, like, you never really think, like, like there's something happening with all the cards being released with all these setups and stuff, and it's like something has to happen. Like, they're just given this blue archetype with all these setups and drills and all those interactions. Like, it's a lot happening, and the fact that there's something there and no one really ever really experimented with that, so it's really cool to actually see.
There's like tons and tons of ideas that just go through my head. I have way too much free time at work.
Yeah.
And I just, sometimes I go through it, I go ahead and make it, and I come up with stuff like this.
Yeah.
And other times it just sits there in my head, and who knows if it's actually good or not.
Yeah. I mean, I actually want to, I was like working on like a Resolute Roshi, kind of dealing with that, because it's definitely another deck that can really like abuse certain setups and stuff like that too, with Blue Save or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, that's really cool. And even, I'm not sure if you ever tried out Blue, I think is Intimidation, like when it enters combat, like if you didn't draw a card, you can draw one, and then you can discard a card.
I haven't tried that card. I thought about it actually as like a run-up just to tutor again.
Yeah.
Because of its actual power, you can discard whatever cards from your hand to draw this. And first, I'm like, if my hand is super dead, because it can happen.
Yeah.
I just have like 2 balls and an ally and a setup in my hand. Like, I can just start over.
Yeah. So that's another thing there too. So, I mean, like, I definitely want to give this a try, because, like, seeing it, I was like, man, find, like, a ball deck that's not Namekian, that's, like, not red, because, like, like, blue has always been, like, there, with, ball aspects.
It's got trick and stuff, but, like, the problem is blue doesn't crit enough, but, Oxking does so much for you, because it means the other guy also doesn't crit.
Yeah.
So, like, if no one's critting, and I have 3 blue tricks, even if they manage to use a crit effect, like Sag Strike, or, like, whatever their crit effects may be, Trick just solves that problem. Mm-hmm. And, like, you have stuff like Optic Blast, so you can just force your way through.
Yeah.
Like, I've come back from, like, being 3 balls down, the other guy's 3 my balls, and, like, I've come back from that and just balled out.
Yeah. Now, have you, even though this sounds, I guess, a little bit weird or odd, Oolong, even though you can't use your ball effects, just because you can, like, use your benefits of your ball, place down Oolong, and then now they have to be like, okay, if I want to get the ball effect, I have to crit the Oolong first, and then I have to crit the ball. It's almost like he's kind of protecting, even though you don't get the effects.
I'm not going to lie, Oolong in a ball deck sounds stupid, but, like, I actually think he has some merit in this. Because, like, I don't really care about my ball effects that much.
Yeah.
The reason I think I haven't Oolong yet is because, Ball 2 is just so broken.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't care if I get Ball 2. Like, it probably helps me. But I need to be able to Ball 2 the other guy.
Yeah,
so, like, even though I can only do it once, it's just really good to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, really, just play Ball 2. So, I mean, that's not a great reason to not running Oolong, but also, like, it's a little anti-synergistic. So, like,
you have to play around your Oolong. You don't want to really kind of want to do that the entire game. Yeah. Now, I also had a question about, like, Sobering Hammer, that's like instant Kami, instant Ox King. I'm not sure if you tried about, because there's so many things you can do.
Sobering Hammer's not bad. Space is pretty much the issue.
Yeah.
Like, I would add the third overpowering before I add the silver hammer.
Yeah.
I could. Space. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even... As far as what I can cut, the one up Blue Flight is cuttable. Like, another energy block doesn't suck, but like, I don't need it. I honestly think one of the head knocks is cuttable. I don't think I need 3, just because, like I said, everything else is tunable. And like, sometimes you don't care about the ringer, and it's just a vanilla 5-left card attack.
Yeah. What about like 1 blue reprimand? I don't know if you ever tinkered with that.
That's a card that's on my radar.
Yeah.
I definitely want to tinker around with that, because then I can start 7 spamming or 2 spamming, and that's just really good.
Yeah, well, you can get the time sphere and a reprimand, and kind of
get that loop going, and then just build them 3 every turn. Stack goes through every turn. I've definitely considered that.
Yeah, it has endurance, and not to mention you can use ball too. It's the
only thing that sucks about reprimand loop in a ball deck, it's a little counterintuitive, but if you're spamming 7 like that, then you're always stacking 3 cards on top.
Yeah, and it sets you back.
Draw a ball. You just draw those 3 cards, and that's great for survival. Yeah. It makes my survival plan stronger, but like, it does just slow my balling out plan a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it sets you back 3 cards. Yeah.
I think it's a solid build-up to consider for sure.
Searchable with terror, so it's like, So a moment like you're on level 2, you could always just have an instant reprimand because you can just go on for the terror and get that.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really good. Spheres.
Yeah.
I might be able to get away with 1 sphere. I just like 2.
I play 1 in my updated version because I can just switch it.
You need to have 1 so you can visit or terraform.
Yeah.
2 is just like if you want a little more consistency with it.
Yeah.
But that's up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, would you be taking this to an event if, like, regionals was like next week?
Let's say I was going to Orlando. The other deck I'm really considering that I'm really working on a lot of time too is Radiant Piccolo.
Okay, nice.
So if you want, I'll do a deck profile on that one these days too.
Yeah, I'm totally down for sure. Just hit me up.
So I would take this or Radiant Piccolo to energy, Ford, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
If I had to do Worlds all over again, probably this or I could do more games with Radiant Piccolo to feel confident about it, but it'd be this or that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really cool to know, And have you ever had any tough matchups, like against Goku's, like with being at level 2, like
the toughest thing for this match has been Choke.
Yeah, I can see that.
Literally always chokeable. It's just not, like, 3 turns into the game I'm chokeable, and I've never not chokeable since after that.
Yeah.
Like, there's 26 binding stuff cards that are going to be choked.
Yeah. But, accepting that, you can always get the counter with Gohan depending on, like...
I've actually considered putting Flurry of Blows in choke, but it's just been so inconsistent testing that I just don't do that. And, like, if you're just holding Flurry of Blows every turn waiting for them to choke you, that's just garbage.
Yeah, you're setting yourself back at that point,
Yeah, so I mean, the thing with choke is you just eat it and you accept it.
Yeah. And it's pretty much... Yeah, like I said...
Like, if you get hit with 3 chokes in a game, you can still win that game, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, Vegeta's an asshole. Like, if you hit you with 3 AKs and 3 chokes, even if the AKs aren't critting, that's just so much unpreventable damage you're just taking. That's really bad. Try to Bulma a choke whenever the hell you can. I've actually considered putting 1 choke in my deck so I could Bulma my own choke.
That would be cute, man. I tell you, that's some pro stuff right there. I dig it.
Yeah.
I mean, worst comes to worst, you can just use it and maybe capture a ball.
Still a choke.
Yeah.
A bad card.
Yeah.
I've thought about that.
Yeah.
Blue Goku can be a little explosive, can be a little hard. Most of the time it's fine, like you get Ox King, you just chill, you do your thing. But like, I haven't played it post Unleashed meta, like Unleashed Errata, so I don't know how bad that is, but like, if he just enters with a hand of like 4 attacks or 5 attacks as Blue Goku, and like, you just don't have the loop going yet, where you just block everything, you could just die that turn, or you can take like 25 life cards. Yeah. And that's hard, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If they can connect with a Blue Ki Blast and banish your key setups, that's really bad. I haven't played against like Kevin Dennis's, or the same person. Kevin Dennis's Tag Gohan. That's not true. I did. I forgot. Oh yeah, that match was actually really easy. I was thinking it could have been hard because the Roshi ally might throw me over.
Yeah, it's gonna actually.
He got Roshi ally, and then I just kept playing balls, and he just kept looking at them. Yeah. And then not doing anything about that.
Yeah. Which is another thing, because you might see like a lot of tag decks, especially with Vegeta or other decks that are not Gohan that can utilize the Roshi ally. So, but for you, you have a backup plan, which is Balls, so you can always just, at the end of the day.
What happened when I played Kevin, and it's coming back to me now, his deck is very similar to mine that we don't do anything. We just want to sit there and play our game. And his is like passive mill, and mine is Balls. So what would happen is like he would sit there with Waiting Drill out and play some allies and reduce some allies, and I'd mill a little bit. And I'd sit there and put like 15 setups into play, like 4 allies, and just draw a ball every couple turns and just ball out on it.
Yeah.
Like he would enter with his like Rinky Dinky 4-card hand, and then a Baba, and I just like sculpt my hand perfectly to just kill him.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool.
I don't betrayal the Roshi, and then I could just do whatever I wanted.
Yeah. Now, what about like Trunks and stuff? Like, especially like Saiyan Trunks or even Red Trunks. I'm not sure. Like that whole in and out of combat.
I haven't played against Red Trunks. I think that's probably the strongest Trunks deck because Saiyan Trunks get stalled on 2 really easy.
Yeah.
Red Trunks can like resource and lock down and just speed right past you.
Yeah.
Red Trunks is probably a problem because I like to have huge, long combats where I take 600 actions. Like, one action I'll battle right, next action I'll do save, next action I'll discard the Kami, next action I'll get the Kami back in play. There's just lots of actions. And Red Trunks is like, I'm going to gain 200 and leave.
Yeah.
I'm going to gain 200 and leave.
Yeah.
So that could suck.
Yeah.
Blue Takedown.
Yeah, that's
It's whenever off mastery.
Yeah. That could be the game's changer right there.
That probably sucks.
Yeah.
I haven't played. I don't know. I have blue cards that say I don't like anger.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah. But, hopefully with the neck beam to take down the ball too, you can...
Yeah, it's not like I'm ignoring anger. You need a lot of anger for that deck.
Yeah. It's just, they just basically go past 1, so I hear you. Yeah. So nice. Well, thanks again for the deck profile. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Radiant Piccolo soon, and maybe an updated version if you ever get back to doing this.
Yeah, I do want to update this. I just actually haven't played one, because my birthday was last weekend, so I was ATC and stuff.
Yeah.
So I basically took like a week and a half off playing and updating decks and stuff. And you're seeing a week and a half of deck.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, you just let me know when, and I'm totally down to, just
maybe sometime next week we'll do it.
Yeah, it sounds good. So I'll try and have this up soon so that everyone can see. But this is again Nick Brown. He went to Worlds. He knows what it is to play against the best. He's one of the best.
Thank you guys.
So I'm glad that again you did this. We have like some pro players talking and really sharing their decks and creative ideas. And it's not just about Goku and Roshi. There's a lot of things happening out there. This is one of them. There's a lot of other decks too.
Sorry, not to interrupt you. I know a lot of people are on Gohan's deck. Like it's not hidden that Gohan's really good. Like, you can get creative, guys. Like Piccolo, I'm talking about like Radiant Piccolo. That's a mastery and an MP that I've not seen literally at all. Like, there are decks everywhere.
Yeah.
You just got to find them.
And that takes time to actually, people have to just grind it out and, just let the juices flow pretty much, because like Piccolo kind of just like fell off. No one ever really talks about him anymore. After like sets like 1, 2, and 3, it was a little bit there and the other, but like now like he's like not talked about. But I like to see Piccolo make a comeback because I think Radiant Mastery is very underrated and very undervalued.
I actually think Radiant is better than Restored. I know, like I'm a huge Restored fan. I love Restored. I think it's the best mastery in the game, or I did until Radiant came out and I played a few games with it.
Inheritance is just...
Now having used Radiant Mastery, I'm like, this is just not fair.
Inheritance, it's just ridiculous. Give him like
Inheritance is like, oh my god.
For ball 3 and...
Piccolo 2, give you the ball, crit the ball back.
Yeah, it's like crazy. It's that's why another deck I would definitely love to see. Yeah, sounds good. So, until next time, Z Warriors.